Hey everybody, I hope you all are doing well and welcome back to Michael's Matters. And for many of us, the dream of retirement involves having, free time and spending it with loved ones and also starting useless but fulfilling hobbies. Me, I'm thinking about learning Latin. Or maybe collecting ancient coins, right? But some may also dream about, those kind of typical ones, taking long walks on the beach with their loved ones, like you see in those retirement commercials. So today, I want to talk about just how much savings someone would need to have if they wanted to retire in one of the top 5 retirement beach cities in the United States. Now, this is Michael's Matters, and I really hope that you enjoy these videos. And if you do, if you find them interesting, if you find them helpful, or if you at least find them useful, please don't forget to like and subscribe because it really does help the channel to grow, and we are so thankful for that. But also because you get updates when our newest and most informative videos become available. All right, now, let's get down to the video. So for this list, I chose some of the top beach cities that folks retire in the United States, and we're going to look at how much the yearly expenditures are to live in these cities, which were compiled by the good folks at the Economic Policy Institute, and include everything from housing to food to taxes to healthcare, and all put together to make a single number, a single price of what it costs to live in these cities. That will be the basis of what we use to figure out how much savings one would need to have to retire in one of these beach cities, and how much would be covered by something like Social Security benefits, and how much extra cash somebody would need to have to put in to live in these cities. Also, as far as orders go, we are going to do this list of cities from the cities that would require the least amount of savings to the cities that would require the most amount of savings. So starting off here, the first city on this list, so I guess this would be number 5, is a city that I would have really never, ever even thought of or had on my list of beach cities to retire, which is in the great state of Texas. That is the city of Corpus Christi, Texas. Now, Corpus Christi is situated on the coast of Texas, halfway between Mexico and Houston along the coastline, and it has a pretty cool kind of island chain that skirts the mainland, sort of like South Beach, Florida vibe to it. It has some pretty happening tourist places like South Padre Island and the Mustang Islands, which also honestly sound pretty fun. And they also have a metro population that's around about 500,000 people, so it's not like a podunk town on the beach, a little quaint beach city. There are also other reasons to retire here, primarily if you are into the beach scene. But with that being said, let's talk about how much it costs, because it is the beginning city on this list, and it isn't that bad, but the numbers still get pretty big pretty quick. Now, the estimated cost to live in Corpus Christi in today's dollars right now is at $36,144 a year, which would mean that in order to retire there, if someone was planning to retire at 67 years old, and according to our good friends at Fidelity Investment, they say that at 67 years old, you should have 10 years worth of living expenses saved up. That would mean that in today's dollars, not adjusted for inflation, someone would need $361,440 in savings to be able to retire there, which definitely sounds, pretty daunting. But keep in mind that the average Social Security benefits as of 2023 is $1,838 a month, which would definitely help out. In fact, it would mean that a retiree here would only need to save an additional $1,173 a month to fill in for the cost that's not covered by the average Social Security retirement benefit. Usually, that would mean you'd have to have an additional $14,081 saved up. And if we are looking at over the entirety of a retirement, so for 10 years, that means the savings should be at $140,810. So at that rate, that definitely seems very doable. And if you want to have a beach experience and be able to wear your cowboy hat and cowboy boots at the same time, number 5 on this list, Corpus Christi, Texas. So next up on this list at the number 4 is going to be a beach city that is known for its beaches, obviously. It's known for its golf courses, its subtropical climates, and its southern charm. And over the last couple of years, it has a pretty big growth in population, slightly less than 5% of the total increase, which is a lot. It really is a lot. So it means that a lot of folks are retiring there, and it is sort of along the lines of Corpus Christi, which is the city of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It has some pretty favorable costs, especially when it compares to the more traditional beach retirement destinations. And first is that the average yearly cost for living in Myrtle Beach is $36,000 $468. That's almost all the costs, like housing, food, healthcare, as well as other necessities, were lower than in Corpus Christi, with the exception of taxes and transportation, which makes total sense for such a strong tourist spot. Usually they typically have higher transportation and taxes out there because, you got to get revenue from somewhere, and you got to get it from all those people who are coming in and coming out during peak season. When we look at how much savings someone would need, though, to retire in Myrtle Beach, well, the raw number comes out to $364,680 in the bank at the time of retirement, so that's enough for 10 years to live there. But some of that would be paid by the average Social Security benefit, which would mean that it would leave a $1,200 a month hole left in a monthly budget that would need to be picked up. Yearly, when we multiply that out for the year, that means yearly you would need to have $14,405 extra in addition to Social Security. And for a 10-year retirement, it's only a few dollars actually more than Corpus Christi, so it would need to have $144,050 overall in their savings. So that's Myrtle Beach. You get the sun, you get the golfing if that is your thing, and I read they have one of the largest Ferris wheels in the United States. So, there's that. But the $144,050 extra to live on the beach over retirement still seems pretty reasonable and definitely within striking distance for any of us normal eventual retirees. Next up is a beach city that got #1 on the U.S. News Weekly chart for beach communities to retire, which is the city of Sarasota, Florida. It is also the first pretty big jumps in cost that we're going to see on this list, but not the highest. It is located just 61 miles away by car from Tampa, Florida. Sarasota sits on the west coast of Florida, which means it is a beach on the Gulf of Mexico. Also, as a random fact, it is the home of the Ringling Brothers Circus, which I would say is something nice to have there. It also has spectacular mission-style mansions, and also the median age for folks in Sarasota is at 52.6 years old. So retiring there would be more of a join the club experience rather than a fish out of the water experience if you're retiring there. Now, that being said, with the large retirement population, a large population overall, and a beach access usually means that the cost of living is going to be extraordinarily high, as we will see in some of the next cities. But in this one, it's not too bad, at least for Sarasota. That is because the estimated cost for living in Sarasota is at $38,256 a year on average, with the cost of housing really being the biggest spike in the overall calculation. At $38,256 a year, it means that for savings, if you were to retire there tomorrow, you would need to have $382,560 in savings for overall retirement to have a comfortable lifestyle there. When if we factor in the extra financial help you can get from Social Security, if you have Social Security Retirement Benefits, it means that one would need to only really actually come up with $1,349 a month in cash to cover the difference. And yearly, that comes out to $16,193 a year, or for a total amount of retirement savings that you would need to have to compensate for what you're not going to get paid by Social Security. You would need to have $161,930 in savings. Now, obviously, I mean, the amounts are going up. That's the way the list is constructed. But still, even at this amount, it is kind of high, and it's an incremental increase, but it still doesn't seem that bad. They do fall within the average retiree's budget in the United States. But a lot of that's going to change when we start getting to these next ones. So here we go, the second to last beach on here. And really, it's going to be on the list of any beach cities, whether it's to retire or to live or to be born or to propose on. It's going to be on any of those. It is going to be the city of Honolulu, Hawaii. It is the capital of Hawaii and the only real major metropolis that's going to be on this list. And it's a jumping off point for most of the adventures that anyone would have in Hawaii, right? You got to kind of really go into Hawaii, and usually Honolulu is where you start. It is the first city on the list that does break 1 million people in the population limit. It has amazing weather all year long with an occasional tropical storm. But as far as cost goes, it's got to be a lot, right? It's got a lot going against it. First, of course, it is beautiful, and that definitely costs money. It is a tourist destination that pushes up those costs for sure. And for the most part is the fact that it is an island and out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, which definitely adds a lot of extra dollars to the total retirement cost in a place like this. So let's look at the numbers. And the numbers significantly jump here because the average cost of living in Honolulu is estimated by EPI to be at $332 a year, which would mean if somebody was to retire tomorrow in Honolulu, they would need to have $553,320 in total in the bank to be able to have a comfortable retirement in Honolulu. And although Social Security will help a bit, it doesn't really put that much of a dent in the $4,611 monthly cost of living, because when we factor in Social Security benefits on average, it still leaves $2,772 a month in costs that would need to be made up, or $33,269 a year. This would also mean that for a full retirement savings for the full retirement for 10 years, a retiree would need to have $332,690 saved up, which, I mean, that's a quite big increase from $161,000 in Sarasota, Florida. But again, you know, it is Hawaii, so there's not much you can do about that one. Last up today is a city that the wife and I really try to get to as often as we can, because it is quite beautiful and we can actually get there from here in Los Angeles, which is a city that, although it is not really the type of beach city where, you know, you can sit on the beach and just kind of hang out. Sure, you can, but it's not like Hawaii or Florida. It is on the water and has some pretty amazing climates. And you can have neighbors like, you know, Bill Gates and Oprah and The Rock and that one lady who married Prince Harry, whatever her name was, which is the #1 city on this list for beach retirement cities, which is Santa Barbara, California, which is a jewel situated 2 hours north of Los Angeles. Santa Barbara was initially started as part of the California Mission System that was built by the Spaniards. It has a great wineries, it has beautiful beaches surrounded by cliffs, and is home to some of the most expensive real estate in the country. So I mean, so as expected, we wouldn't think that these numbers would be all that low, and you know, they're not. So right off the bat, the average cost of living in Santa Barbara per year is at $62,400 a year in today's money. That would mean that if you were to retire there tomorrow and have savings for 10 years, you need to have at least $624,000 in savings to last the entirety of that retirement. With the average Social Security benefits for right now factored into that, monthly would still mean that a person would need to have $3,361 additional coming into the household to have a comfortable living. So when we multiply that out for a year, that amounts to a yearly saving necessary to be at $40,337 a year, or for a full retirement savings, a minimum of $403,370 saved up. A little too rich for my blood. So yeah, so I can attest personally that Santa Barbara is pretty amazing. But so is Honolulu. I've been there. I've never been to Corpus Christi or Sarasota, Florida, or Myrtle Beach, but I would imagine they are nice as well. But Santa Barbara is definitely very beautiful. It's definitely the most expensive, and they have a great university system there. California University of Santa Barbara, go Banana Slugs, the Fighting Banana Slugs, not necessarily the best mascots. But if you really want to retire there and enjoy the beach life and all that Southern California has to offer, it is going to cost you a pretty penny. All right, so that's it for today's video on how much does it cost to retire in the top 5 U.S. beach cities. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, if you found it interesting, if you found it helpful, hey, if you at least found it useful, please don't forget to like and subscribe, because it really does help the channel to grow, and we are so thankful for that, but also because you get updates when our newest and most informative videos become available. So for Michael's Matters, I'm Michael, hoping that you take care of yourselves, take care of others, and have a happy, healthy